podcasting since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network, kingofpodcasts.com.
It's getting hard in these streets to be a sugar daddy.
We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the King of Podcasts.
And I hope all of you last week got a chance to go and listen to my interview with Dr. Elliot Justin about sexual wearables. And for those guys that have been getting the myth of erectile dysfunction being constantly talked about. So we had a great conversation last week. I hope you had a chance to go listen to it. If you did not, please go back and listen to it. And just know that we're not just talking about the wearable. There's so much more we're talking about. But because for guys out there to understand that you are getting a little bit of the runaround when it comes to feeling like, okay, you're not performing well in the bedroom, or you're not able to get your performance up to par, that some of that is just, what's been out there on social media, online, what people have been saying, the constant kind of tropes that are out there for years that you've heard. But it is getting hard for guys to go and continue to get laid like they could be, like they should be. And for women also in the same light mind, because everything's so transactional now. As we have talked about here on the program, even going back to, the start of this year, it's love, sex, and money. I mean, there's only 3 different ways that you can have any relationships now. So what about the sugar daddies out there that have tried to go ahead and in these tough economic times, if you will? Listen, we still have some inflation. We still have things where it's not that easy to go and just secure a job. And, we have people that are trying to go out now where, women that might be on the dole under the government, needing the help of EBT and SNAP and food stamps and all that stuff. And hey, government assistance for some women out there, the single moms, or for those that are out there that are, for whatever reason they are on the dole. There is something to be said about times are tough. And maybe not for guys who are sugar daddies, our times going to be tough if they have the means and the wherewithal. The difference is that if there's not that much money coming in, when you've accumulated a certain amount of wealth, you're not looking to go ahead and tap into that wealth and start putting out and start taking from it. Okay. There isn't really any kind of such thing as money to burn unless you're living in Palm Beach or Jupiter Island or, in the Hamptons or something like that. It's just not. You can be a billionaire to have money to burn. But if you're getting there towards the millions and you're trying to get up there is still no such thing as money to burn. And for those that are smart enough, they're not going to go and just tap into their savings or money they have put aside unless they have it put aside for something. Okay. But yes, cost of living is climbing. And we've talked about it for modern women. They are struggling to keep ends meeting and to be able to go ahead and keep up with the kind of rent there is out here. I mean, I'm thinking about in the city of Miami right now, talking about a 1-bedroom starting off at like $2,500 a month, or easily to get a good 1-bedroom apartment. You're talking about a good 1-bedroom apartment in a nice area. Okay. Wynwood, Brickell, central downtown Miami. You're talking about $3,500, $4,000. It's like in New York, because now down here it's gotten much more expensive. Bustle put out a story recently about even the sugar daddies are feeling the squeeze. So recession indicators, when you know that we're dealing with things now where money is just not that coming across, and the idea of the kind of money that women might want to ask and what they're asking for. I mean, that's the thing too, is the investment of, for instance, if you are with sugar baby and you are a sugar daddy and you have a woman who is somebody that you're supporting and the kind of things you're going to ask for. Okay. It's always one thing for certain sugar daddies to want to go ahead and do something. Well, they'll spend money if it's for the good of somebody, but not just disposable. Like, okay, what are you using this for? Are you going to save some of this? Are you going to do something with it? Because I'm not going to be here forever. Well, I'm sure most women don't think that way. So they tell the story here about a 29-year-old tennis coach, and this guy is ordering Chinese takeout on Grubhub, and he gets a text. Daddy, could you send me some money to get my nails done? He sends $100. Man, that's a lot, man. $100, closes the app and goes and went to bed hungry. He says, I decided not to eat. I only have so much cash. No. The priorities have to be changed around. You don't benefit from her nails getting done. Okay? That's just something that will make her feel better, but really, it doesn't really mean much of anything. And the thing is, for this sugar daddy, why would he just go and just send $100 like that? Why don't you just think about how much the nails would be to get done? I don't think they're going to be $100. I don't know what kind of, tips she's getting on those things or whatever kind of design she's getting. I mean, I guess I haven't gone to a nail salon to find out how much the women are now charging these days for those kind of things. But I would imagine, I thought you would think it'd be like, at $40-$60 now, right? Or maybe I'm completely off. But I guess for the kind of nails that she wants, the kind of maintenance that she has, it's maintenance. And that's one of those things where, I mean, how much as a sugar daddy do you want to go ahead and invest in a girl's maintenance? So the thing is, he's by himself on some given night, ordering Chinese takeout on Grubhub. By the way, buddy, if you're going to be a smart guy to be spending, why are you ordering food on Grubhub? I mean, how much that's going to cost? I know because I'm a part-time Uber driver, okay? And I do a lot of deliveries. I can imagine on Grubhub, when you go and get this done, you're talking about Chinese takeout, what, $20, $25, $30 for whatever you're going to get, entree, appetizer, whatever. And then the service charge at least is going to be $5, $10. It's going to be at least $10. In San Francisco at 9 o'clock? Yeah. So you might be paying $50 for the Chinese takeout. And then you decide to go and give $100 over to her. There's got to be a point when you are feeling the pinch here that you shouldn't feel ashamed about the fact that, hey, time's a little bit tough. I'm only going to send this much right now. And I hope you could just figure out a way to go and get the rest for yourself. Because I'll tell you, you can do that. And I think there's going to be some women that might be a little bit understanding. Because the other thing, too, is you got to be able to filter out the girls you're with. If they're at the point where, I mean, this guy just sounded like he just wanted to make sure that she was just like, okay, leave me alone. Here, send it. Done. But if you're saying to yourself, if you could take the test and say, baby, I'm only going to be able to send this much. And just, if it's a little less than what she's expecting, is she going to be understanding? Is she going to be amenable and say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'll make up the rest. That's okay, baby. Don't worry about it. And then I think about the fact that, okay, then you realize, okay, this girl's being understanding. She's got a little patience on her. She might not expect you to go and do that every time. You're not going to try to be, never really cheap. But if you have spent on her significantly, and then you decide, okay, you know what, after a while, you're not going to always just spend a certain amount. The expectation can't just be out there all the time. If times are tough, then you say to yourself, you know what, baby, I'm only going to be able to send you this much right now. I need some money to come in. Because that's the excuse you got to say. Like, listen, you need money to come in. It's not like you don't have money. I'm sure. Because if you try to go and say you don't have money, the girl's going to believe you're lying. So you just got to say, I don't have money coming in. There's certain money not coming in. I'm waiting for some new money to come in. So I can send you this much right now. Because I got a few other things to come up. Got some bills. Got some other things I'm going to take care of. I got some deals I got to wait to go and pan out. But I'm going to go and take care of you. So just be patient with me. And the truth is, if the girl buckles back at you and she gets upset that you don't send out a certain amount and she wants to drop out, let her. She just gave you the way out, the exit strategy. And then the one thing is about the fact that if she gets upset and has a hissy fit and runs away and it just drops off, ghosts you, you know what will happen is you're actually going to get her to come back. Do you want to keep things exciting and interesting? You need to go ahead and play a little bit of the trickery here to realize how much is this sugar baby invested in you? Because remember, at the end of the day, in a sugar relationship, you want to make sure you're feeling that there's some romantic needs being met, some kind of feeling of that you are being wanted, you are being loved, and that you're being satisfied, that you're getting something out of this. Because you got to be able to get return on investment. Something's got to come out of that. And again, we're not getting any real return on investment at all doing this if you're a sugar daddy. So you got to get something out of it. And if she wants to get her nails done, why did she just get, you send on an app, like you go ahead and PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. Why doesn't she come over? I mean, that's the other thing too. You can do something where, hey, I'm getting takeout. Why don't you just come on over? But then she could probably say, well, maybe you should have the car. She'll ask you to Uber over. There could be just some other cost along with that. But that's the first part of all this. So now, this guy here, this tennis coach, said he never planned on becoming a sugar daddy, but a female friend texted him a picture of herself trying on dresses in a store and asked which one to get. I said, oh, I'll buy you whichever one you want. He's a simp. So he said it like that. She didn't believe him, but her phone lit up with a Venmo, and then conversations turned steamy. First time was extraordinarily hot, so they had sex, and he enjoyed it. And there was something about her excitement and responsiveness, and I found myself eager to give more and get more. So capitalism has created such dire conditions that the power of money was sexual in nature. Right. Because now there are women that are definitely motivated by money, but the thing is, you can't just be in a relationship thinking you're going to go in transactional. You have to make it a quid pro quo. You have to make it where you're getting something for something. It's got to be something of value to you that takes care of you. So he created multiple sugar relationships in the same kind of vein. The thing is, you don't go right into like, oh, I'll just buy it for you. I mean, if he's got the money for it, I guess then he could just like use that line and he's going to get instant sex, because that's the only reason he could have done that. Because if they're talking about dress shopping, he happened to be there and he says, I'll buy it for you. He is basically signaling to the girl, number one, you're going to have sex with me. And number two, that's the only reason you're going to get the dress. And you should buy the dress for him to enjoy you in. Right? And then it's also, he's getting to choose the dress, choose to see it on you, choose to see it on you when you get together, choose to take it off of you when you have sex. So if he's dropping that kind of line on you, you can't just assume, oh, he's just going to buy it for me and then I don't expect anything. He's not going to expect anything in return. No, unless he's a simp, which that guy could have been, but it just sounded like simp talk right there. But the truth is, to me, the fact that he actually says that right away, the first time was extraordinarily hot. Yep. That means they got right into talking. They got right into go ahead and get into the bedroom. So he's getting what he wants from it. And it was as simple as him buying a dress for a girl to impress. And then he got to take it off and do his thing. So compared to the time-intensive hassle of modern dating, he felt it was a way to get his needs met. Quote, I'm ultimately successful because I work 10 to 14 hours a day. I'm saving time by just being like, I need you to send me a picture of your butt. And then when I want your emotional support, we can schedule a time to talk. But his income took a hit. Layoffs, industry slowdowns, tense economic backdrop, and tennis clients can't afford his coaching anymore. And the kind of things that these sugar babies would ask him for. He obviously had a particular high maintenance type that he was going after. I wouldn't go after these kind of girls myself, but he did. Obviously, he was able to go and do that because of his status. Now, requests from the sugar babies. Remember, he gets nothing from this. Nails, shoes, flights, $3,000 Ariana Grande tickets. He calls it unethical non-monogamy. Not because they wanted sexual exclusivity, but he felt forced to choose between whom to send money to. Too tired to cook on account of his long hours, he would skip his frequent DoorDash habit to keep up. He's like, why am I starving myself for this? Sex is important in my life, but it shouldn't take precedence over me eating. Correct. The thing is, there's the money that you have that's your discretional spending that you normally use on everything, okay? You should have like a budget of what you're going to spend regularly. And then you have the money that you have aside to go and play with, a certain amount of play money. This guy should not be giving up his normal everyday routine. Now, the thing is, for him, it's a frequent DoorDash habit or Grubhub habit. So, okay, you're not replacing it with cooking or anything like that yourself. You're still going out and having food and just going out for takeout. Like, if you were to replace it, I mean, before you decide to go and just start cutting out and starving, no, you can go ahead and make an adjustment. But he didn't want to do that because he's working 10 to 14 hours a day. I get it. He talks about that. I want the G6 lifestyle, but I can afford Delta economy class. Now, when women have the delusional idea of sugar daddies, which is where they go on these sites, okay, whether it's Seeking or Sugar Book or Sugar Babies or, Established Mail, whatever there is. There's all these other sites. Okay, sugar daddy meet. The images are of penthouses, caviar, private jets. These are like multi-billionaires or billionaires. No. Most sugar daddies, as a matter of fact, in 2025, are mid-career professionals with some disposable income, but not so much that money is no object. Correct. With inflation, skyrocketing rents, and a perpetually looming recession, men who seem financially secure really have had to cut back. Women that might have been financially secure, that's not happening so much anymore because women have a much more go to try to go ahead and live the lifestyle they have, maintain their beauty, maintain their presence, their status, their attire, and then try to go along because not as practical or pliable or amenable as men are. Okay, we're just more efficient and more frugal. As a matter of fact, we're just the way we're built. That's how we operate. So men now, if they don't have that disposable income as much, then they have to go ahead and make adjustments. So if you're seeing that, ladies, if you have a sugar daddy around you, you need to keep that into account right now because times are not as good as they once were. And, when other people that are affluent don't want to spend so much money, you can tell. When you see not as many people going out to restaurants or bars on a regular basis, the kind of spending you see now coming up for the holidays, okay? Who's all going out for Halloween? Who's all going out for Thanksgiving or New Year's or Christmas and all that stuff? Like, you got to think about the fact that how many people do you see go out dating? How often are restaurants open and very bustling in the middle of the week? How the tourist season is right now. Because let me tell you, right now in South Florida, I can tell you right now, tourist season should be starting at this moment. October 15th up until April. It's not started yet. I can tell you that by being in the service industry, you'll realize if things are picking up or not. If the restaurants are picking up, you're getting a lot of food orders, you're getting everything else. If you got people that are actually ordering out a lot. And also by the type of tips they're giving out for those service workers doing Uber or DoorDash or Grubhub, you don't know. But if they're not putting out more than $1 tip, there's something wrong. Now, they talked to Morgan, who's a mid-20s escort, former sugar baby, saying that there's a shift to what clients expect. Quote, they want the full girlfriend experience, but for less. She's now offering a client a payment plan. There's a cost of living crisis that he's trying to negotiate. Okay, another one trying to negotiate with her. Another asking for a discounted rate, then sulk when she had to leave his chosen date, an ecstatic dance class soundtracked by Kaya's My Neck, My Back to see another client. Quote, he should have gotten more for his money because he's not like a rich finance bro, but I'm not doing it on a sliding scale. He calls himself an anti-capitalist writer, but I think he just really means he doesn't have a lot of money. So there are Reddit forums out there, one like Sugar Relationship, that babies are commiserating about clients who fail the value of their time, dubbing them Splenda daddies and salt daddies. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Another person writing, well, we went from Versace bags to freaking Beats by Dr. Dre. Mind you, it's my effing birthday. I wanted a trip to the Philippines. So over the years, sugar babies have been less stigmatized, more mainstream. You have buzzwords like provider mindset and high value women. As I've been on this show talking about, we absolutely have a rise in sugar babies more than ever. In the last 10 years, you see a prominent part of that. And to some of that extent, some of those women that not want to be sugar babies, they're OnlyFans models. Because that's the depraved and debaucherous lifestyle they live. To be able to make a living. Instead of going the old-fashioned way where they go to a strip club, go grind on a pole. They're not doing that anymore. If they can make it easy on themselves, they're going to find a way. We also know the rise of FinDom, or financial domination. We talked about that. So the program, I've been talking about that since when I'm not podcasting days. On TikTok, you see stay-at-home girlfriends or a self-proclaimed mattress actress glamorizing their soft lifestyle. Luxury vacations, penthouse suites, and more women expect financial compensation from their partners outside the strict boundaries of sex work. So there's an imbalance in the market. One that gives sugar daddies more freedom to lowball. Well, I'll tell you what, too, for those women that also don't find those jobs that are just real cush. Okay, so they might have gotten a degree and they find some cush job where they're kind of just like being daycare. They're like 8 hours at a job, a couple of emails you have to send out, but they're enjoying matchas and lattes and, grabbing lunch and, just relaxed atmosphere. Come with me as I go work. And they're not really working at all. They're just kind of just lax. Just like there's not that many of those jobs right now anymore. As much as there's not that many sugar daddies out there that are living out the lifestyle. I mean, I can imagine the travel industry is taking a hit right now for people going out. And I mean, I wonder how many people are really going out on flights right now and really going out in the jet setting lifestyle that's not a business lifestyle. Just keeping that point. Sabrina, a longtime sex worker in Canada, left sugaring for strip club work. She says the men aren't as generous as they were before. They expected a lot more for a lot less. And as the standards get lower, I'm seeing a lot of girls just accept it. We're not unionized. We don't really have a choice. And so this is the one that also said she wanted a trip to the Philippines, saying that when she didn't get all that she wanted, normally expecting a luxury vacation, a Michelin star dinner, and a designer bag, she found a pair of headphones. By the way, the Beats by Dre are good headphones. Okay, the earbuds are really good. She wanted a trip to the Philippines. I wonder if she's from the Philippines, but we don't know that here. Quote unquote, all the sugar daddies have dried up. Prices are getting higher and sex is getting cheaper. It's a tragedy. I talked to another guy that was thinking about the fact that he gave up having a pet at home because he wanted to go ahead and find something else that with his money, time, and attention. So he says that this guy Jay has a fairly high income, doesn't come from money, but cost is certainly a factor. He's a married sugar daddy. So he can take breaks and build up a reserve of money of what I want to do with, but I would need to be in a much higher income bracket if I was trying to have somebody at my beck and call. Now, he says that all relationships are transactional in some way. They're just making the implicit parts explicit. For other daddies, pay per meet, provide a way to fulfill specific fantasies, be with more beautiful women, or get a leg up in a hostile dating market. Well, and there's one thing at the end of the day that for the guys, if they're looking at escorts or sugar daddies, I need to break this to you, but guys, you know this. There are a lot of beautiful women of a very high end of beauty that are the ones working in these particular areas. They are looking for sugar daddies. They are looking for, they are escorting, or they might be, in some place where you can find them and, they're only looking to be transactional. So as long as you make sure you keep it transactional, as long as you're making sure that you're not getting yourself caught up in them, then you just always realize, you can have some feelings, I guess, but at any time, if you got to feel the need to exit and break out, you will. And you need to be able to put your foot down. If you can't handle the demand that this girl has from you, because if you're doing her well, what happens is she will demand, and then she will gauge what kind of demand she can get from you, how often she can get from you, and then she'll try to increase it. And you need to be smart enough to realize, you know what? You need to have a rotation, a stable if you're a sugar daddy, and just say, you know what? No, I'm not going to let her go and do this. She's not going to roll over me. You can easily just drop her. And just, you don't need to go and make any kind of justification as to why. You don't need to go and go through the relationship style where you have to justify the relationship and make it a point where, look, this is the reasons we have to break it off. No, you just break it off. You have to. He says I've been with models, people who pose for Playboy. Also, ever dated girls who are better looking than what I get on the dating scene. Correct. The other part is that there's the appeal of sugaring is wrapped up in anxieties about masculinity. Dating as a man already comes at a high price point, not just for the cost of dates, but the numerous dating app subscriptions it takes to get that date, the cover you pay for nightclubs in hopes of meeting someone, which, the nightclub scene is not even worse because it's all bottle service now. There's no dance club. You're spending right now parking, the admission to get inside, and the drinks, which are completely overpriced, all of it. I was telling somebody the other day about the clubs we used to have, in West Palm Beach, and I'm saying to myself, okay, we could go to Club Safari in the PGA Marriott, PGA Boulevard. If all of you know, you know. And you pay $3 to get in. Parking's free. You get in there, the drinks are probably like $3 to $5 for well drinks. You're getting drunk. You're getting out there. You're there till 2 in the morning. Then you go to Flirts. That's down in West Palm and on Okeechobee Boulevard, west of 95. You go there and, no cover. And the drinks are like $5 each. Not even that. You got a food truck sitting out front. You want to go and get a burger, get a hot dog, get whatever, sausage and peppers, whatever it is. And the drinks are flowing till 5 in the morning. And all the girls will be everywhere because they would make sure ladies' night was full and in tow. And the point was that you made sure that the girls came in free. It's the guys who are paying everything. We're covering for the women because we want the women there in the droves. That's how it used to work. These days, not even close. And to the fact that I still see the point of some women now, nightclubs are just strip clubs because the strip clubs are now more than nightclubs because they've taken on that lifestyle. And the women know the barriers to entry to get in there, from the parking to the 2-drink minimum, to the cover, to the payments, the money that they put down to the women on a regular basis. They just can't be talking to the girl they want to talk to. They have to keep spending money on the entertainment because that's what's expected. Or the manager kicks you out. So the limited time you have in there, you have to keep spending and spending and spending. You are a constant ATM machine while you're in there. No. And the women don't think about the fact of how much that these guys have to spend on dates or whatever. They could care less. Sugaring by comparison is a reliable expense you can budget around. So women looking for that provider mindset make a similar argument. Between wage gaps and keeping with beauty standards, it takes a lot of effort and money to be a desirable date. Right. So part of it is you are putting money into the investment because you are getting the beautiful girl that you want because she's keeping herself together in good shape with the right makeup, the right hair, this and that. But then again, I got to say there's something to be said about if you can find a woman that is going to be a sugar baby for you, I would imagine more than not, you're going to find a girl that is more natural and looks really good without makeup as well. Doesn't really need much makeup to put herself together. And those are the ones that you really are trying to go ahead and vouch for. You're trying to go after anyway. Because if you are going after a girl that is just going through, BBL and wants fake eyelashes and the hair's not hers and extensions and all this other stuff, all these extra accessories that are all just, it's not real. It's just, it creates an illusion of the women that have delusion. No, you don't want that. Now, the tennis coach, we'll go back to him. He internalized the message that wealth was the first-class ticket to romantic success. His dad would always point at bald men with beautiful women and say, you only get there if you have money. When I got older, I'd see dating app prompts that were like, if you're balding, don't swipe. If you're under 6 feet, don't swipe. If you don't make X money, don't swipe. I was like, oh, these things are real. So he thought if skipping meals wasn't enough to change his mind about being a sugar daddy, there was a point where a sugar baby goes to him after taking his money, and he said, quote, it made me realize that everybody in this dynamic is trying to survive financially, but people aren't able to have a good faith connection in any realm, even when the money thing that's connecting you. Yes, the trust factor is a big issue. And we're going to keep it there because the trust issue is a big problem. Now, he goes on to say here, this tennis coach, I remember seeing some meme of some dominatrix being like, I know we're about to hit a recession because all my fin subs don't want to give me money right now. And when the people get turned on by paying, don't want to do it, that's a bad sign. So we'll get in a moment into the stories about sugar dating right now everywhere else, here and abroad. But there's one story we got to talk about first in Canada that is quite interesting because you need to be careful of what you're doing if you're going to be in the sugar dating space. British Columbia Superior Court this week has awarded to a 23-year-old who met her sugar daddy on a dating website in 2020 during COVID. She's now entitled to $4,000 a month in spousal support. Yeah. She's now getting interim spousal support from a wealthy 77-year-old sugar daddy she met online. So Jada Jane Becar and Alexander Mordo met on seeking arrangement in late 2020. And the highly unusual matrimonial action, heard in British Columbia Supreme Court in Vancouver, Canada, both accused the other of starting the, quote, relatively brief and tumultuous relationship for predatory purposes. The couple began living together in March 2021, married in 2023 of April, separated November 2024, no children. So Bakar asked for interim spousal support and the production of financial documents from Mordo, who she claimed earns $2.45 million based on his lifestyle and spending habits. The judge awarded the interim support, roughly a third of what she was seeking. She was asking for $12,000 a month and a retroactive payment of spousal support for the 8 months since the couple separated, totaling $100,400. But the court gave her $4,000 a month and a lump sum of just under $40,000. Wow. Other requests she had was that she would be paid $17,000 for continuing to pay tuition for foreign fashion schools she attends online and $3,000 for orthodontic treatment. They were both rejected. Mordo denied earning as much as Bakar claimed, says he's been retired for many years and reports only a modest income, and his opulent lifestyle was financed by selling off capital assets from time to time. So he said the spousal support should be tied to income rather than capital, and the judge agreed with the assertion that Ms. Bakar was improperly seeking an advance of future division of assets in the guise of interim spousal support. But that her financial needs could be met by working, seeking support from her wealthy family, or by selling the many expensive gifts he gave her during the relationship. So he's trying to get away around it, but, he got himself married. Dumb idea. Now, Bakar based her request on interim support because Mordo had encouraged her to spend $10,000 a month on her own rental accommodation at his expense. He took her traveling and regularly gave her expensive gifts such as jewelry, watches, and handbags. They frequently dined together at expensive restaurants. And right now she's not working, no source of income. That's not good. She was studying anthropology at University of British Columbia, and Bakar said Mordo discouraged her from working, and that Mordo persuaded her to change careers and enroll at a fashion school in Istanbul in Turkey. But since she has refused to continue funding her tuition since the breakup, he was refusing, So he's also was like contributing to the delinquency of this minor, of this girl, because she is thinking like a young girl and just follow along with it. So some of the kind of capital assets he was selling off, according to the funds he owns, a limited fund and the Mordo Principal Residence Trust. He has financed his lavish spending by selling off capital assets, which includes 3 homes in Vancouver and Burnaby that sold for $737,000, $659,000, $646,000 in 2023 and 2024. So yeah, almost $2 million in capital assets. Wow. And through a shareholder loan based on those sales, it was drowned down to over $700,000 the past few years. And the Mordo still has considerable assets. He has a West Vancouver home at $4.75 million and a property in Aruba worth $1.28 million. Yeah, this girl hit the jackpot. This guy had money invested. So the homes, the trusts, he now has other things that he has around where the kind of lifestyle she was living, she was going to get whatever she could because they decided to get married. Oof. She had already been living opulently for a few years before returning to not having the kind of status she had before since separation. She had a claim that those monthly expenses she had over $12,000, payments on a Range Rover she no longer owns, rent of $3,000 though she's not renting, and visits to cosmetics and for salons at $1,350 a month combined. So the judge decided that Ms. Bakar's needs can be met on a budget much more modest, with her ability to support herself in part through part-time work or the other means available to her. She ordered that Mr. Mordo contribute to a reduced budget paying the interim spousal support, $4,000 per month. And then Mordo, in this case also was trying to get the family dog together, a dog named Frankie, which they got together in 2021 for emotional support during a psychiatric crisis. He wanted it returned to him, but Bakar will continue to have the dog. Horrible. This, you have to watch out for yourselves. You can't get yourself caught up in these kind of things. So the kind of woman that you're with, this guy made a huge mistake. I don't care how much money he had. He picked the wrong woman. And the fact that he decided to go ahead and get to the point of spending so much on her, to the point of the lifestyle that she was living, and he was never going to get rid of her. Tell you what, man, that's pretty tough. So what about sugar dating here and abroad? We're going to wrap up with that part, because if you're asking yourself where to go, Miami New Times recently put out a story about where to meet a sugar daddy in Miami, and they go through the ideas and say that, right now, Miami is the OnlyFans capital of the United States. Swanky hotel bars become established for pickup spots for high-end escorts. And, of course, there's always what Miami's Upper East Side was back in the early 2000s. So if you want to go ahead and find sugar daddies, all you sugar babies out here, you need to be in the 200 level at Hard Rock Stadium. Yes, the club level. So if you're going to a Dolphins game, you'll run into plenty of season ticket suite owners. You just need to make sure to spot the host versus one of the hangers-on, see who they're all sucking up to, and then ask if he needs a head cheerleader for his fantasy league. The Champagne Bar at the Surf Club in Surfside on Collins Avenue. There's a Champagne Bar. They're named the best hotel bar of 2025. That's the spot they talk about. The Fountain Blue Avion at Opelika Airport. It's an FBO or fixed-based operation, an airport terminal for private planes. And it's ground zero for the most sought-after sugar daddies for obvious reasons, given the Fountain Blue name, which does not translate to tables that live, but it might. Then you talk about the living room at Faina in Miami Beach on Collins Avenue. The first United States outpost of the Argentine hotel brand. You go there, and plenty of non-sugar daddy babies love coming here for the opulent setting of live jazz, or stop for a before or after dinner, but you're here for the salt and pepper gentleman at the bar with a string of ex-wives and an Amex Black Card. There's the Paradise Plaza at the Miami Design District. They mention the service center at the Collection, which is the car dealer that runs and offers Lamborghinis or Ferraris, the waiting room for an expensive aesthetician. That's another place you can also look. So those are some of the areas. Now, what about if you're abroad? Well, one country you might want to be wary of and be careful of, you can think about doing that, say, in Dominican Republic, in Colombia, Venezuela, Philippines, sure, Thailand. But Singapore, different story. SugarBook has come under renewed scrutiny. That's a website that there is a lot of sugar daddies and sugar babies on it. There's a lot of court cases involving sugar dating arrangements. And now we have an issue in Singapore about this. Over a month ago, a 23-year-old woman sentenced to 11 months in jail for cheating a man that she met through SugarBook. She agreed, this lady named Cheng Wai Chain agreed to meet this guy in sex in exchange for $400 American. So $400 Singapore or $312 American. But did not go through with it and took $8,100 from him after pretending to be underage. We've talked about this story before. Wasn't that long ago we brought this story up to you here on the program. And now, earlier this month, another woman made a false rape report after a dispute with a man she met on the platform. Clarice Lingming Rui, 20 years old, asked the 43-year-old man to pay her $1,200 Singapore, but refused and only paid $500. In retaliation, she called the police and lied about that she had been raped. So 2 stories about 2 women on SugarBook that met in the Philippines. And the women being penalized for it. Now, in the same vein, there are men that have been jailed for paying underage girls they met on SugarBook for sex. One 42-year-old sentenced to 1.5 years in jail for paying a 16-year-old sugar baby for sex. And then another man, 39 years old, jailed for sexual penetration of a 15-year-old girl and filming the act without her consent. Now, they didn't say how long he was charged, but he should have been charged for a long time for that kind of thing. That's just sick. Legal age of consent is 16, but it's an offense to have commercial sex with anyone under 18. Keep that in mind. You should know these things. Sex with a person under 14 is rape. Sex with someone under 16 would be considered sexual penetration of a minor, an offense under the Women's Charter. Very interesting to find all these things that are going on in Singapore. And by the way, Sugarbook requires users to confirm they are 18-year-olds at registration. They use Amazon Web Services artificial intelligence for age checks and verified phone numbers and facial verification. But I guess it's not enough. Wow. That is weird, wild stuff. Sugar babies. And what to deal with now? I mean, is it worth still going through, I guess? I mean, I think it's going to be happening much more than you would imagine because guys still want to go and get something from it. And maybe that the relationships, you don't want that consistent having to go and spend. So go transactional. Find a girl to hook up when you want to hook up with them. And be a little praised and debaucherous.